Battleline podcast, and look who's back. Actually, I know you were missed on the last show, Chris.
Yeah, I was getting spit roasted. I had a colonoscopy, and it just got. Actually, you know what? The show probably would have been hilarious because ask Tanya because my wife was coming on here in a little bit about how I am when I come off the anesthesia. Help me out here.
Anesthesia.
The anesthesia. I was gonna say the anesthesia. They have a show. Kids say the damnedest thing. They should have people after colonoscopies say the damnedest things when they come off anesthesia because it's hilarious. I don't even remember what I say half the time, but I say the funniest stuff. So, but yeah, I had to go get my old man checkups and my endoscopy and colonoscopy. So hey, have fun.
Yeah,
it was enjoyable.
I'll have to hear Tanya give us the story. But before we get into this episode, I want to let you guys know that Fort Scott Munitions, of course, is a manufacturer of multi-federal patented solid copper and brass CNC spun ammunition that is designed to tumble upon impact in soft tissue, leaving devastating wound channels for faster bleed out and quicker incapacitation. And let me tell you, I'm getting some great feedback from listeners who are now customers of Fort Scott, guys who go to the range regularly, hunters. They're just so glad we turned them on to them. So this ammunition was originally developed to innovate and improve on the standard of military-grade ammunition design. It was found that not only did the TUI, tumble upon impact ammunition, outperform competitors in the self-defense industry, but it quickly became apparent that it would be a top contender for hunters alike. With the ammunition being CNC spun, the tolerances are some of the tightest on the market, ensuring that you receive the same results with each pull of the trigger. Now, before I get into all the specifics of everything, you just got back from one of your training courses in sunny Florida, which I'm very jealous of, and Fort Scott is all you guys shot, right?
That's what I have there. Yeah, they sponsor my training company, Battleline Tactical, and that's how I got to shooting their ammunition, and it's the best stuff out there, and I'm shooting. For those that are familiar, speak ammo talk. I have a little PDX. I also work with Maximum Defense Industries, and Fort Scott makes ammunition specifically for what we call shorties or shorter carbines, or sometimes are classified as pistols, but because of the length. But they really are, and I don't care if ATF's listening out there or not. They really are just short rifles, is what they're. But you have to have ammo that's we talked about the tolerances and the consistency. You have to have ammo that has that tolerancy that can be consistent when you're utilizing short barreled rifles. And the reason being is because you don't get the spin, and that's what causes the round to stay accurate. Is there's that rifling in the barrel that causes it to spin, and when it comes out, if it stays tight, then it goes farther and it's more accurate. When you have a shorter barrel, well, of course, you get less of a rotation when there are bullets coming out because it doesn't have as many times to spin because it's got a shorter. It's like a plane coming out of a runway. A longer runway, they're probably going to be taking off quicker. A shorter runway, they're going to be taking off a lot. Hopefully they take off at all. And that ammunition was still accurate with a heavier round, 7.62.39, which is a 7.62 times 39, which is a AK-47 round. It's a heavier round, a bigger round, and it still was accurate out of a 5.5-inch barrel up to 100 meters, and that's what I was shooting. And that for those that don't speak ammo, that is amazing. That is tremendously just amazing, and it speaks volumes for the ammunition that Fort Scott's putting out. And again, specifically for me, I'm not a big hunter. I do bird hunting, but I don't go out and do big game hunting. I don't mind people that do. That's as long as they're doing it for the right reasons, which is, it's for the right reasons means you're getting out there during the season because of the population of the animals. There is some control to it. But for me, home defense and having ammunition that is consistent under duress, would be a home defense situation, that is so extremely important. And I did have one misfire with my 9mm. I have also a 9mm and have my 9mm ammo out there, but that wasn't the ammunition. That's because Tano's too lazy to clean his gun. So I decided I need to clean my pistol out, and that was a problem with an extraction. It's just because I'm lazy and I need to clean the extractor out of there. But fantastic course too, brother. And you're right, 70 degrees in DeLand, Florida, at Full Spectrum Warriors facility out there. Navy SEAL buddy of mine that owns it.
Yeah, Rich Graham, right? We'll get him on at some point.
Yeah, we will. And I did his podcast where we're out there. But it's just it was good. You couldn't ask better people. 27 people. We had a whole team from SOCOM, the Air Force, which is MacDill, and Air Force SOCOM team that was out there training with us, and it was amazing, dude. And we can talk about it more, down the road. But as far as doing the read here, we're doing a 10-minute read for Fort Scott again.
always.
But it is. It's amazing, and their ammunition is second to none. There's nothing better out there.
You know what I was just going to say as you're running through all of this? You are not allowed to tell me that you are not a gun nerd. I know you don't like to get classified with all these other guys at SHOT Show because you're a versatile person. You're into other things. You're into music. You're into some things with politics, and you try not to be someone who's one-dimensional. But you are a gun nerd.
No, I because of my job, I have to be. You do need to know, just like I would never call you a radio nerd. I would never call you a serious. But well, you are kind of, but you do other things. But that is your expertise, and you need to be good at what you do. Yeah. You have to know, and that's me too. But if we walked into a room and there was Recoil Magazine over here, which is a gun publication, huge gun porn magazine, and I don't care. I don't really care. But you have Recoil here or Guns and Ammo here, and then you had a comic book over here. Even if it was Archie Comics or something like a graphic novel like The Watchmen, I'm going to go over there and Mickey Mouse, Disney comic, I'm going to go over there and read the comic book because I don't want to see all that. I know all the other stuff just because I've been in the game for so long, and you have to know what you're doing. I mean, you have to know what your job is, and that was my job. But you're right, brother. I try to downplay it, but yeah, I do love to know munitions and guns and so forth. But that's what I've been in for I don't know how many years, since 1995 or since I was a little kid shooting the Red Ryder BB gun with the compass in the stock. Yeah, that's so. But you're right, brother. You can call me out on it, but I am definitely not a gun forum guy. I don't get on the gun forum chat rooms and no.
I think you're not obsessed, but it's okay to be a nerd for different things. And what you're saying, it describes Jack Murphy too to a T.
Yeah,
because after we would do the podcast, there was a huge comic book store across the street, and he would go there. He'd get comics for himself, and then he got his daughter into comics too. She'd be reading Batgirl.
Oh, that's I can't wait to see the new movie. The Birds of Prey looks just like what the comic book was with Huntress. If I follow all that, and Huntress and they also I got to get more into who they all, because you have a what's the other one? Huntress, Black. It was a.
Don't ask me because I am not a comic book nerd.
Oh my goodness, Black Sparrow! I'm saying it wrong, and all the comic book people over there going, "Tano, you're an idiot again." Just like when you thought Pantera was still an active band. But
I am a metal nerd. That I am.
I know you are, bro. But you're I'm like, Jack, I love comic books. I love all that. You'd be surprised. Most guys, and I can't speak for SEALs and Air Force PJs and you guys from the unit and all that. I can tell you, most Rangers are very eclectic. You'll find many love just reading anything from Walt Whitman to, like Jack and myself, going and getting comic books. They're not what you think. Believe me, we got our guys that are gung ho Leonard Skinner to the core. And Jack will tell you the same thing, especially being a third bat. But there's a ton of guys there that are really not anything what you would think would be an Army Ranger, which is that country Southern boy that loves to listen to AC/DC and drink Bud Light, and it's not. There's guys that very just actually, when the day's done, they want to go do their own thing because it's a little different. I know Jack and I are fairly similar in that realm, is that we have other interests, and a lot of Rangers are like that. A lot of them are.
Well, really quick, because I want to finish letting the people know about Fort Scott, but now I'm just curious. Did you get into any of your kids into comics the way that Jack did with his daughter?
No, not really. My son got it. I actually did a lot of baseball card collecting. I have tons of baseball cards from when I was growing up, and I got my son into that a bit. My oldest one, 15, and he started collecting baseball cards, and then his genre came in. They started doing the Pokemon cards.
Yep.
And he started collecting. But I encourage that because, when I was growing up, I wish I would have collected more of the Cabbage Patch Kids cards. Those things are worth money. how much money Cabbage Patch are, and so he started to do that in the collection, and honestly I got into that a little bit with him because I thought that was the neatest thing in the world, the Pokemon cards, and collecting cards like that, and growing up with me collecting baseball and football cards. Of course it's a connection, but it's kind of neat. It is when you're looking at the cards and you like, wow, this one, if I get this number here, it's and you do look at how much it is worth. It's part of the draw to it.
Yeah. So with that, guys, because I do want to get into the actual show here, and I want to let everybody know about Fort Scott once again. Fort Scott Munitions is available throughout privately owned businesses in all 50 states, as well as directly online through fortscottmunitions.com. Use the exclusive promo code Battleline for 15% off your order, which is huge. You know, a lot of people are making big orders, so 15% off when you're doing one of those big orders is a lifesaver. So only available to listeners of the Battleline podcast. Once again, that's FortScottMunitions.com. Use promo code Battleline. Fort Scott Munitions is a proud supporter of Chris Paronto, Battleline Tactical, and the Battleline podcast. Somehow we got into comic books and baseball cards. But
you know what, Ryan Kraft, the gentleman that runs it, really he's super extremely intelligent. And he's his dad and him own Fort Scott Munitions. I could guarantee, I'm not for sure, but if you meet Ryan, I can guarantee he has some comic books in his closet because he's that kind of person. He is a super genius, and he looks like the youngest kid that would have nothing to do with bullets and guns. And the kid is brilliant, and I shouldn't even call him a kid. He's old. He's just as old as me, but he's an amazing individual. And hey, one more thing too, guys, and I want to make sure we put this out there. Get with Fort Scott, because right now we are getting to where we're going to be building some range ammo and getting Fort Scott Munitions to do range ammo. And why that is important is because of the cost. You know, when you're going out and shooting paper targets, you know, you don't want to be spending the same amount of money on ammunition that you're going to be using for hunting or home defense, because it's tough going in there and basically what you're doing, throwing $50 downrange when every bullet you shoot. So and so Fort Scott, and we're in connection with Battleline, hopefully in the future, we've been discussing it, is going to build a range ammo. And so it's inexpensive, and it's still going to be top-notch munitions, so you can have your range ammo when you go to the range. And hopefully, if we can get it worked out, we'll be supplying it with the courses. So when you sign up for a course, you have the option to purchase ammo along with the course. And that's what we did in Florida. It made a heck of a lot of difference because a lot of people travel in from distances. And if anybody's gone through TSA knows it's a pain in the ass traveling with weapons, and also weapons and ammunition and the weight. And it was I don't know why we hadn't thought about that before, but we did. And another company actually helped supply the ammunition because of Fort Scott. We weren't ready, but for the future, you know. And people, please hit Fort Scott and tell them, hey, yeah, we want range ammo, and you guys supply them for the Battleline courses, so we'll have that offered, so you don't have to travel with your ammo anymore, and you're going to be getting the best ammo to shoot at the range as well. So I want to put that out there. I know it's another free read a little bit, Ian, but I wanted to make sure people were aware of that, because it's an important thing, and it's part of things that people don't realize when they're going to train, especially if they're traveling to see us at a course where they live out of state and they fly in, and there's a lot of them that do that.
FortScottMunitions.com. Once again, promo code Battleline. Let's get right into the show.
On the microphones, pure and uncensored American straight talk. Never quit. You're locked and loaded with Chris Paronto and Ian Scotto. This is the Battleline Podcast.
Battleline Podcast. I know that was a long intro talking about Fort Scott, but we love what they do. As I said, Chris Paronto is back, and much anticipated guest. We've had a lot of people say, when are you getting Tanya Paronto on the podcast? And before we even get into everything, I'll let everyone know the reason Chris and Tanya are in separate places. Chris is in his car, Tanya's in the house. Just to be a recording nerd here is the fact that if they're in the same room and we have the speakers on, you'd hear some echo. So we're making it work. But with that, glad to have Tanya Paronto on for the first time.
Crazy stuff. You guys are digging a hole having me come on here. You don't know what you're getting yourself into.
What are you talking about? I love you. Everything's going to be great. Can you notice that? Everything's going to be just fine.
Well, I'm going to tell y'all, first of all, that with all your female listeners, because I know you have some.
Oh, yeah.
You need to get more women on the show because there's far too much testosterone going on with Battleline podcast.
I agree. Sometimes it's not. It's fake testosterone too. HGH is fake testosterone out there, guys. Don't let it fool you. Don't fool yourself with it.
Well, she's the third female guest, and I know we're gonna have Joy Villa on, or is it Joy Villa? Joy Villa, right? We're gonna have her on.
It's Joy Villa. Are we having? Is Kaya coming? I thought we had Kaya too, but I don't know.
She has not gotten back to me, so probably having Joy Villa on. And
cool.
Yeah, but no, I agree. We'll get all different types of people on, but I'm pretty sure since episode 1 with Andrei Orlovsky, you've been teasing this out, so people are excited for it.
Yeah,
it's all good. All good.
I'm just gonna sit here and be quiet. This is gonna be the one episode where I don't say much.
This is your wife, though, bro.
I know because
that's a lie.
Because I'm going to be.
Everybody knows you talk too much.
Well, look, I'm in the truck. She can easily just walk to the front door and lock it, and I can't get in. So I'm at a disadvantage right now. See?
I guess the interesting way to start this, and I know we talked about it a little bit with Chris, but like from your perspective of maybe your background growing up and into meeting Chris.
My background growing up. Wow. You want me to start that far back, Ian?
Sure, why not? I think people love to hear.
I am a definite small town girl. Grew up small town life, one grocery store, one flashing light intersection. Went to a small high school, had about 24, 25 people in my graduating class.
And where at, for people wondering?
I went to a small little town called Utan High School is where I grew up. Kind of threw myself into academics.
Wait, what state is that though? Because I don't even know.
Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
Nebraska. Sure, Nebraska. Cornfields.
I haven't ventured too far away. I mean, Chris and I lived in Washington State for a couple years when he was stationed up at Fort Lewis. But other than that, Nebraska's pretty much always been my home base. So, yeah, small town girl, got a scholarship to play volleyball at University of Nebraska, Omaha. And I guess I'll just fast forward to how I met Chris. It was, and very few people know this, actually. I get the question every once in a while, but the really random thing is that we met on spring break.
Yeah, the South Padre Island spring break. It was. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. You're telling the story. Sorry, honey. Go ahead.
No. You can tell the story too. Cause
I will.
Your perspective.
I will.
No,
go ahead.
Was, I went down with a group of my friends. He got kind of talked into going down with a group of his friends. And we just kind of ran, like the two groups kind of just ran into each other at one of the bars down there.
Okay, the detail. Actually, I got dumped. They had the shot girls were running around. The little shots of whatever the popular thing was at the time. It wasn't. It was something cinnamony, but it wasn't what's Fireball. They didn't have Fireball back then. That's how old it was. And remember, she dumped it all over me, and I had to take my shirt off.
I did?
And no, the girl.
That's right.
And that's what, and I just got thrown out of the Army. That was the first time I got thrown out of the Army. It was that's why I did spring break, because I was all depressed. I was out of the Army and all that other crap, and dumped it all over me, and I was this gooey cinnamony liquor all over me, and it's spring break, so I don't care. What was I at the time? 28. 27. Am I dating myself a little bit? But I took my
That's
shirt
pretty
off.
old for a spring breaker.
No,
and by the way, I should throw out there.
27. Yeah. 27.
No, you were 24 or 25.
How do you guys have this so off? The only thing I want to clarify here for people wondering, when you say thrown out of the Army, this is when you left. Though I don't want people to think you got like dishonorably discharged.
No, I got honorably discharged, but there was a chance for me. And if they want to know, it was in the Ranger Way. I wrote about it, so I'm not like hiding anything. Go read the Ranger Way. You'll see. I talk all about that low point of my life, that when it started to kick back up, and part of it was spring break and meeting Tanya. And that was when things started to change, when it got better, actually, where I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with myself? That was also a time that, I had OD'd on a lot of pills at one point in time too. At that time before I met Tanya. And when I went to spring break, met Tanya, things started to get better again. The life started to go better. But
so let's get back to this. You're covered in a cinnamon
goo
shot.
Yeah. So I take my shirt off, and she sees this chiseled body, and that was it right there. That was it.
Is that how it went down?
I love how you just made it all about you.
See, that's there. Yeah, I was keeping me honest all the time. That's what I go through. I need that. Is that true? Is that true? Just tell me.
You're right. You're not lying. That is factual information. You just embellished the end part a little bit. No, so we wanted, my little group of friends, we wanted to go over across the border, go down to Mexico, but we're all a bunch of chickens because, we're college girls that have never really been outside of anywhere. And his kind of group of friends was like, hey, we're going to go down, in a couple nights if you guys want to hang out and go down together. So it kind of became this like travel buddy group of friends going down there. So we felt like we were sort of protected because we had this group of guys to help us, navigate the unknown, so to speak. But that's just kind of how it developed. And, Chris and I got to, become friends, talk a little bit more. He's, giving me his background information about, the Army stuff. He was married before at that point. So he was telling me about that situation. And he's like, I need new direction. I need something else. I need, a different goal. Yeah. And he was talking about going back to school. And, of course, I'm thinking, okay, well, University of Nebraska Omaha's got a great criminal justice program. And I told him that because that's what he had his undergrad degree. And, long story short, it just kind of ended up developing into Chris moving from Colorado to Omaha to Nebraska to attend graduate school. And, I got tasked the job of finding him a place to live, which is comical in itself. Because I think, Chris, you've talked about this before, yes?
Yeah, about the coming to Omaha, and I haven't talked about the apartment you found me that was had.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was going to say.
Haven't got to that one yet. Yeah, no.
Well, Chris is coming with next to nothing, and he literally moved to Omaha with a suitcase and a box, and a piece of crap Bronco 2 that was just breaking down all the time. Yep, remember that. Yeah, in that box was like a plate, a bowl, a metal pot, and one set of silverware. I kid you not.
and you were how old at this time, Chris?
That's what he brought. And he's
26.
Like,
okay.
Help me out and see if you can find something that I can afford so I can live and get a job and, get going in school. So, I'm searching around somewhere close to my neighborhood area because he's never been to Omaha. He doesn't know the city at all. And I find a room for rent. Now, in my gut is telling me this probably isn't the best neighborhood. This probably isn't the best situation, but based on the budget allotted, this is what I'm going to throw at him. So Chris came down. I was really nervous because I thought he was just going to throw it back at me and goes, this is terrible. Why did you pick this? I'm not going to be able to live here, because it was one room with two other guy roommates. One was kind of, what was his job? Like a handyman kind of a guy?
He was a handyman. His name was Doug. Nicest guy in the world, yeah. But he was a handyman guy that really, he was going to be in Omaha for the rest of his life sort of guy. Nice guy.
Yeah. And then Jab.
Then the other one was it was a Vietnamese or Korean? Is it Vietnamese?
Not Korean, Vietnamese.
Vietnamese foreign exchange student named Jab. Didn't speak English
Yeah.
very well.
So the room that Chris got was one of the upstairs bedrooms that had no air conditioning. And of course, Chris moved there in Nebraska summer, which is just the polar opposite of the crappy Nebraska winter that Chris complains about all the time. So it was, 90 degrees probably in that room on a regular basis over the summer. But you know what? I think I don't remember you complaining about that part, Chris.
No,
That's
I don't.
True to form, right?
I don't. I didn't mind. I didn't at that time. Also, I was used to, just got in the Army. I was used to being the weather didn't affect me. I mean, as long as I remember, I didn't have a bed either. I had just threw like a futon mattress.
You had a mattress.
Not even a futon. I just threw a little thing on the floor and had a little fan. As long as I laid still at night and had the fan blow on me, it stayed cool enough. It was fun. It was awesome though. I mean, it was crappy as far as where I lived, but the roommates, it was a great learning experience. I would never have hung out with the two guys I had roommates. So they weren't like me at all. Yeah. But we came together and it was it wasn't a pretty rough area, but we live in a rough area right now. So what? I didn't care. You get those. I was the guy that where Tanya would be on road trips and she was still playing volleyball, practicing. I found a job and but it's the kind of place where my budget could afford a little bit of alcohol. I wasn't a big drinker, but a little bit. I was still college age. I could afford a Mickey's Big Mouth or Old English or St. Ides, one of those big 40 ounces. And I could just go sit on the porch, and I'd overlooked Mutual of Omaha's headquarters. So that was one of the coolest things at night because the moon rises right there. So if the moon was coming up, I could sit there and just drink on my porch. And I wasn't worried about getting robbed or anything like that. I looked more like a thug than they did at the time. And I'd watch the moon come up and watch the Mutual of Omaha Indian Head sign light up. And it was a cool experience. But yeah, it was a great place to run. I was a runner. And remember, it's hilly. It was hilly all over there. And we had a little Chinese restaurant that was right down the street that I do think they still cook cats and dogs. Excuse me, is that politically incorrect? We have to edit that out. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It was, it was $1.
No, it's truth though. It's probably true.
it's like, $2 all you can eat Chinese food, but that's where we go to eat. And it was a good change and it was a good step because it got me out of Grand Junction. Of course, it got me and Tanya together. But it was a change, and it started me off to like, you know what, it was a little scary at first, but this really wasn't that bad because when you go in the army, you still really have a mom and dad taking care of you when you're in the military. You really do. You're not worried about anything. You still got a place to stay. They're still paying you. When I did that on my own, I was like Tanya said, I remember I had double hernia because I still hadn't fixed my hernias that I got from a jump into Fort Bragg when we did my last training jump at Ranger Battalion. So I had 2 hernias as well moving there, and I had to go to find a hospital and get them surgically done. And I had nobody there to take care of me. Tanya did when she was playing volleyball. So, she did what she could. But there was a lot of times, too, also where Tanya had air conditioning and her house was a block away. So I'm not going to lie that I spent all summer in my room. I would go and stay in the cool air-conditioned house that she lived with her roommates at the time. But, yeah, did I take it over again? I took it over again, didn't I, the conversation?
You talk a lot. You do. You talk a lot. It's okay, though. You have good content. It's good content. No, it makes you like, I love just respecting the small stuff, so to speak, just being able to, like you talk about, set it on the porch and just hang out, and it's your time and, a new direction, new avenue. You gotta respect that.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I mean, living where I do in Port Washington, I get to see the sunset over the dock, and I don't really do sunrise because I don't wake up early enough. But all that little stuff I do think is stuff that you remember if you're that type of person.
Yeah. You do, and it was walking. I had no lawn, people doing the same things I do, but when you're in college, you really feel in that time frame of that life or that age, that's when you do need to experience that. Where I had no, we had no washer and dryer. So I'd have, I'd walk 2 blocks to the laundromat with my stuff. And that was actually fun. That was actually my Zen moment sometimes, was going to the laundromat and sitting in the laundry and watching TV and just knowing that, I can survive. I don't need a ton of money. I'm going to work my butt off to make a good life for myself and make a good life for my family, but it's okay. I don't need that. There's small things that you start to enjoy. You enjoy the little things. And that was some of that. Sometimes that was just walking to the laundromat when it was minus 10 out in the wintertime, but getting a laundromat and doing laundry and just sitting there watching TV going, man, I'm doing all this on my own. And I thought my life was over because at that point in time, I had gone through a divorce. I had attempted. I actually did take a bunch of pills and drink a bunch of alcohol, thinking my life was over. But then I met Tanya, and like I said, things started. I started to see the bright things, the brighter side of life, where it was just small things like that. And the cool thing where she found the place it was right next to this historic area in Omaha called the Jocelyn District. And there's a Jocelyn Castle right there, right in the middle of this old crappy neighborhood. There's an old building called the Jocelyn Castle. And I remember I'd go jog by it, and I love architecture. So I just look at that, go, man, I'm actually living in a pretty cool place. And I wasn't. You're also a little bit more fearless at that age too. You're not thinking anything's going to happen to you. So I get out and explore, and that's still the best way to see anything is explore the neighborhoods is to go jogging and run around and then Tanya I was in grad school. Tanya had volleyball games. I go watch her and play volleyball, and she looked good in volleyball shorts. That's when they were getting really tight and short like they are now. So I would like doing that. I'd sit and watch her in her volleyball shorts and be like, man, this is great. I did. Is that okay? Can I say that? Or do we have to?
Why are we continually talking about tights and shorts?
Because you look good in them. That's why.
I was just going to say something like really nice about you, and then you had to throw the volleyball shorts.
That is so nice. Are you kidding me? If I was talking how I was physically attracted, I still am to you. I shouldn't have said still. I shouldn't have said still, huh? That's bad.
I mean, this is I should throw in. This is the post Valentine's Day show. So
no, but what I really wanted to say, because Chris is telling his story about new beginnings and starting over and things like that. And I think one of the things that I respect and love the most about Chris is it comes down to like that guy's work ethic, because whether it's been, gosh, didn't you like have to be a brick mortar?
Oh, I know. I had double hernia surgery, and I was a mason tender too. So I was out there.
Mason tender.
But what a mason tender is, go ahead, tell them what a mason tender is, people that don't know out there.
No, you can tell them what a mason tender is, but I'm just saying, like, he always figures it out. He always makes it work. And so many people make excuses why they can't do this, or this is impossible, or, this just didn't work out for me. And when it comes to him, even from the very beginning, whether it was, in the military before I knew him, in the military after I'd already met him, or all these different jobs and projects and endeavors and, hurdles and mountain climbs, so to speak, that he comes up against, it's like, okay, what's next? What's going to be my next obstacle? Because he always seems to figure it out, whether it's a roadblock that he needs to take a different direction. So, and I really respect that and love that about him, is in that, I guess it comes back to the whole never quit thing, because, that's the tagline and that's the hashtag that, he uses for so many things. But it is, whether it's the small things, that the obstacles that are put in front of him, or the big, huge obstacles, that he's overcome individually, or that we've overcome as a couple. I have a lot of respect for that. It takes a pretty tough human being, mentally, physically, emotionally, to get to the place that he is now.
And it takes a pretty tough human being to stay with a guy like me that should be finding these things out and doing them a lot quicker than I usually do. Say it right. I thank you. I love you, sweetheart. And but
yeah, I love you too.
But you know,
yeah,
you know, like,
sometimes,
man, I
yes.
wish you're dumb. Why didn't you think about it that quicker? Well, I just didn't think about it. But that's, you know, even Ian, with me and you talking, I always say it's a marathon. Well, it is.
Yeah.
We're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
We may not figure it out
Yeah.
now, but as long as we keep moving forward, whether it's at a sprint pace or we're walking, we're going to figure it out. And Tanya and I have always been like, we'll figure it out. And she is extremely impatient. I have a tattoo on my chest, the angel. I haven't got my Colton down there, but it's the loves of my life around a cross that Tanya first got me, that I lost at Fort Benning. It was the first cross that she got me, and that's what these cross I wear now is one she got me. But it has angel up there, and that's why she's my angel. 'Cause she's patient as hell with my dumb ass, and that's amazing to me. That's
Only
strength.
sometimes.
You're pretty patient all the time.
No,
no. Okay, go ahead.
I think I've learned. I've learned to be patient. I've sort of been thrust into that corner of, okay, let me just sit back and see what this dumbass does next, and then I'm gonna calculate what my reaction is to it.
Yeah,
so yes,
pretty much.
Sometimes you are a dumbass. Sometimes you're the most amazing person on the planet, and you know we both find a middle ground all the time. So it's all good.
So yeah, that's how it is. I'm on both sides of the spectrums. I've never been in the middle. Never been right down the middle ever. It's always one or the other. It's always one or the other. So.
Hey guys, so sorry to interrupt our own conversation. We're putting this in later, as you'll hear, because I didn't want to interrupt the flow of what we were doing. But we gotta, of course, let you guys know about Fort Scott Munitions. Fort Scott is a manufacturer of multi-federal patented solid copper and brass CNC spun ammunition. It's designed to tumble upon impact in soft tissue, leaving devastating wound channels for faster bleed out and quicker incapacitation. This ammunition was originally developed to innovate and improve on the standard of military-grade ammunition design. It was found that not only did the TUI ammunition outperform competitors in the self-defense industry, but it quickly became apparent that it would be a top contender for hunters alike. With the ammunition being CNC spun, the tolerances are some of the tightest on the market, ensuring that you receive the same results with each pull of the trigger. Fort Scott Munitions is available throughout privately owned businesses in all 50 states, as well as directly online through fortscottmunitions.com. Use the exclusive promo code Battleline for 15% off your order, only available to listeners of the Battleline podcast. And Chris, as we said earlier on the show, on your tactical courses with Battleline, that's what you're using is Fort Scott Munitions.
Yeah, we're luckier than anything to do that and have that out there. And we let other students try the ammo and we have it out there. But like I know I've said prior to, make sure you contact Fort Scott because they're building a range-specific ammo. Ryan Kraft, the brains behind the operation, is starting to do that. And just stay on them. Say, Ryan, we need that range ammo because if we do that, people are still going to get out there and they're going to try to be able to shoot it, and they're going to find that really they've been missing out on the best ammo out there in the country by far, if not the worst. And I'm going to say with a lot of validity. As the word validness, is that the word?
Validity, I think you're looking
validity,
for.
Thank you. With a lot of validity. That is probably the best ammo in the world. I'll say it right now. And people get that chance to do that. But they are tremendous. And of course they really do give us the best ammo to just train with on whenever we have our courses. And even for me on a daily basis, when I just go to the range and shoot, it's fantastic ammo.
That's FortScottMunitions.com. Fort Scott Munitions, offer code Battleline for 15% off. Fort Scott Munitions is a proud supporter of Chris Paronto, Battleline Tactical, and the Battleline podcast. And we also can't forget Thadia. If you haven't yet worn or heard of the apparel brand Thadia, then you need to experience the brand. Thadia is the first apparel brand to literally mean courageous and brave. It's what we seek from ourselves, from the heroic individuals who protect us, to the athlete, and to the everyday individual. Thadia represents the courage and bravery within us all. Thadia has taken its profound meaning and combined it with enhanced tech apparel to give individuals the unique apparel brand that reflects their own courage and bravery. No longer are the words courage and bravery only used to describe the actions of individuals. Now these words are ingrained within the apparel you wear. Check out Thadia online at thadia.com. That's THADDEA.com. And experience the brand of the courageous and brave and the KTP apparel line, which, of course, that apparel line was dedicated in the name of this guy, former U.S. Army Ranger and 2012 Benghazi attack survivor, Tanya Paronto. I'll start off because I know the three of us now wear Thadia. They sent me a whole bunch of stuff from sweatpants to shorts to and they're not really sweatpants. They're like lighter material pants that you could work out in, to T-shirts. And I have been tremendously happy with everything, wearing it all on a regular basis.
I've been wearing it. Well, of course, I have been with my own brand, with the KTP brand, but I've been with these guys 2 years, I think now, and yeah, it's fantastic. T-shirts is fantastic, and the sweats. Actually, I have the thicker sweats. There's a gray, and they posted a picture. I think their last one of me on their website, where I was wearing the T-shirt, the Tano T-shirt, the gray one, which is fantastic. But also I was wearing the sweatpants. They're a little heavier, and for Nebraska, they're outstanding.
Yeah.
They are perfect sweatpants. Fantastic. And Tanya can tell you, I wear them around the house. I wear them to the gym. I wear them when I work out downstairs. I wear them when we go get coffee in the morning. And the best thing about them is they're just so dang comfortable. And with the cold winters here on the gray, they're a little bit heavier. They actually break all the wind as well. So no, fantastic. And the T-shirts, of course, you'll see me wearing them at the gym all the time. And they don't. The best thing about them is they don't stink. After I've been wearing these things. Or do they stink, Tanya? Maybe I can just used to my own aroma. Am I stinky in them after? I don't think so.
Not usually. I think you're good to go.
But the shirts, they're form fitting, but they're not that compression form fitting. Which honestly, at the gym, unless you're playing your college football or you're out there practicing that compression stuff, I don't want to wear that at the gym. I want something that's form fitting, but also that's a slightly form fitting, but it's still loose enough that it lets you breathe. And even when it sweats, it's not the full cotton, so it doesn't sag on you either. It still holds its shape. So yeah, it's great stuff. And one of the best things about them too is even with the logos on them. And we work through this with Thadia as well. The logos on them on the KTP brand, they don't. And you can tell me the same thing. If when you're sweating, they don't chafe your nipples.
No.
Hate that. As a guy, when you're working out heavy and the logo's right there, rub it on you the whole time, especially if you're running on the treadmill, which we have to a lot here in Nebraska when it's so cold. And no, they're still comfortable, even when they're soaked in sweat. And I am a heavy sweater. I sweat after walking a mile.
It's a thin material. So Tanya, you were an athlete for Thadia. You could really speak more on the women's line and the stuff that you wear on a regular basis.
Well, what I like the most about the women's T-shirts is it's made to fit a woman. What I hate so much about other T-shirts and other brands out there is it's not cut and made to fit a woman's shape. And with the Thadia T-shirts, that's my favorite thing about them, along with just kind of the inspirational stuff. The biggest surprise is when I stepped into this. Obviously, it was through Chris, but Scott actually allowed me to give my input and offer some suggestions, which I was blown away by because I still have yet to even meet the man face to face. So for him to say, yeah, throw me some ideas. I want to hear what you're thinking. And what ended up coming out of it was that Succeed, Achieve, Conquer women's tank. That's what came out of it. And I was blown away that somebody actually listened to my opinion. So I love the tanks. I love the T-shirts. My absolutely favorite thing, and Chris will definitely back me up on this, is the KTP black hat. Yeah. It has Tonto on the side and KTP on the front. I wear it all the time.
Yes,
maybe a little bit too often, but it is my favorite.
No, it looks good. Actually, my favorite are the tights. I like those.
Yeah.
They make some good tights. She was wearing them today. I was like, those are my favorite tights. And then I did, of course, the tongue roll that I just did, and the little, but they're fantastic, and they're great guys. Just like every person that we bring on, every person that's part of it, and you're seeing this with Ian. Ian, you're seeing this with all the groups and the ones that have been part of Battleline or Tonto throughout the years before we even started the podcast. I don't work with people that aren't genuinely good, that have integrity, that have some ethics, that are just nice people that are willing to say, you know what do you guys think? And they can take constructive criticism and not get all bent out of shape about it. And that's where the t-shirt, they really have. The t-shirts and the athletic line has from when we first started was good, but they've made the improvements, the little things like Tanya said, that where she's recommended or I've recommended stuff, and they've made those little improvements that now that's all I wear at the gym. It's all I wear. And they're shorts too for basketball. They have great basketball shorts.
Yes.
They're right long enough. They're perfect. Now I just need to get Scott. We need to get into the running shorts, which is which is
Ranger panties,
Well, we just really for women there are actually shorts they make, but for the men, the actual specific running shorts that we'll start working on, which has that little liner, and they've got to be cut a little bit higher.
But I'm saying, are they going to be like the Ranger panties?
Oh, you're talking about Ranger panties?
Yeah.
They will be a little bit longer than Ranger panties, but they're still going to be panty-ish. So you better if for runners out there, people that actually run daily or competition runners, there's a reason why they're cut up so high, is because when you're running, especially if you're going miles and you have that long basketball short, that little bit of weight, it starts to wear on you, and it messes with your mind, and then it starts to rub on you. So you have to have it set up right. But we're going to get into that. Yeah, like the Ranger panties, but a little bit longer, Ian. So you won't be having ass cheeks hanging out.
Yeah,
you have butt cheeks.
The only thing I could add to that is I always wonder when I'm ordering like athletic apparel about size, and especially if you're ordering something online and can't see it. I would say, guys, stay pretty true to size. A lot of the times I'll order sometimes a medium, sometimes a large. I got all medium stuff from Scott. At least I got medium in the shirts, large in the shorts, but the medium shirts fit pretty true to size. So if you're a medium, go with a medium.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, don't size up. Because a lot of athletic apparel, you got to size up. So stick with whatever you usually wear.
And just tell people your size, because you and I are about the same height and same weight.
I should throw that in there. Yes. I'm currently, since I've been bulking, Chris, I'm 174. It's the biggest I've ever been. I'm used to being like 160, and I'm 5'10".
And I'm actually still shrinking. I was at one point in my life 5'10" and a half. I am now 5'9" and a half, but I'm 160. I'm 168, and the mediums are what I wear. And I'm also, you're right, with the shorts and the sweats, though, I do go up to a large. But Tanya will tell you, I've got long legs and a short torso. I wear 32, 34 pants, if that tells you anything.
Yeah,
so,
he sent me a large. He sent me a large in shorts and pants. And to be honest, I could have gone with a medium. So I would say stay pretty true to size. But I'm really happy.
I'll speak up for the women's size. Shirts are definitely true to size, but for me, the pants, you need to go down a size, which for us ladies, that's not normal. For us to think, oh, this is normally what I wear, but I actually needed to go down a size than I would have normally worn when it comes to the fatty pants. Just an FYI.
Yeah, that's good. So keep that in mind for any of the ladies ordering.
Definitely, brother. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ian. I cut you off, man.
No, that was it. I was going to say I'm really happy with everything they've sent. And, it's funny. I'll throw this in there. What I like about Thadia, too, is they're not posting retarded workouts, because I'll throw this out there about Gymshark. This came across my I actually like some of Gymshark's stuff, but this came across my radar because Marty Skovlin reposted something Gymshark posted, and it was this guy doing wall sits with plates, and then a girl with him jumps up on him like a box jump on his legs. I was like, this is a really good way to wind up in the hospital.
Yeah, that's just dumb. Okay, I'm just saying, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it and try to talk eloquently or be PC. That's just stupid. Don't do that. And I don't like Gymshark stuff for guys. Tanya has some Gymshark stuff for women. The tights, they do look good. No, I'm women. Like I said, I love that. I love leggings, man.
Please stop making that noise.
I know, man. They just love it. Have you ever seen chips before? With the new chips with not the old one with Eric Estrada, but the new one.
I have not. I have not.
Oh, you guys, it's hilarious. But those that have seen chips knows how Ponch, the new Ponch, has a fetish for leggings. It's part of the movie. It's part of the stick, the funny parts of the movie there. And that's kind of me. That's like, all right. And no, she looked good. But I said that the Thadia leggings are my favorite that she has. And she's got all the other ones. She's got Gymshark, the Lululemon. They look good too. But yeah, Thadia.
And you guys will see us post pictures on Instagram, on Chris's and on ours. I when I get a chance to it, I'll definitely post something of me wearing their stuff so you could see. Apparel brands should be more than just performance based, and fortunately, now it can be said, mission accomplished. Thadia, inspired by the heroic and worn by the courageous and brave. Follow Thadia on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, and visit them online at Thadia.com. Once again, that's THADDEA.com. Now back to ourselves. We kind of interrupted ourselves during this interview. Back to myself, Ian, Chris, and Tanya. So like, at what point did this early relationship lead to you guys getting married?
We needed money. We wanted to have money when I went to Ranger School.
Is that true?
Okay, no. That's funny. I'm kidding. But no, we got married right before I went to Ranger School. That was we have yet to have. Well, we did kind of in Mexico, right? When I came back from Ranger School, I had my tab, and it was kind of, but we didn't really have it. We've never had a big ceremony. We never did. But we dated for a long time. When I was at Fort Lewis, she came down, and when I was a second Ranger Bat, and when I re-enlisted and went back in, so we dated all when I was getting my master's degree, and she was finishing up. So that was 2 years in Omaha together, roughly. During that time frame, she knew there was no secret that I was going back in. I was going to find a way to get back in the military and finish what I started, and she knew that. So, and that was a benefit of being with a woman that is still physically fit as well, just as likes to work out even more than me, that it helped push me to stay on course when I was working nights, or when I was being a Mason tender and I was smoked, as how they still get out there and work out or go to the gym, or I'd see her going to the gym like, oh shit, I got to go work out too, because she's playing college volleyball. It's pretty demanding on you. But
do you remember that you tried to break it off with me before you went up there?
I did because I didn't want to go through what I had gone before which was the first, and then, my first marriage, she didn't want anything to do with the military. So I was like, I don't, and a lot of guys, there is something to be said that people going in the military, especially if you're going into special operations, it's easier to be single because you only have to worry about yourself. It really is. If you're going to be married, you really have to work at it, and you do, guys. So if you're going in Ranger, SEALs, anything, and you're young, not saying that you need to break off anything, but just know that if you're going in and you have a serious relationship, or if you are already married, it takes a lot of work because you're always gone. You're whether even when you're home. And Tanya will tell you this, you're still always gone. You're out in the field all the time. You're going to work at 5 a.m. to go to PT, and then you'll get stuck there. You're like, hey, we're going to do a 2-day field exercise. Okay, wish we would have known that. Well, you don't need to know it because war doesn't have a timeline. So you got to be ready to pop at any minute. And so like, and sometimes, and this was for the admin of said, we didn't really have cell phones, or did I even have a cell phone? I had a pager, so they could page me to come back. That was the pager days. So I couldn't even call her and say, hey, I'm going to be out in the field for 2 days. As far as she knew, I was gone. As far as she knew, where'd my husband go? Normally there was a little train with the wives, but Tanya, and that's what I pride about Tanya too, is she's not part of the wives class. She's not that's not her. I never wanted a woman to be like that. They're that kind of, which is nothing bad, but she's different. And it was tough. And then when I went to Ranger School, this was my mindset. First of all, I loved her. We'd been together, 4 years at that point? Was it 4 years? 4 or 5?
Yeah,
5
just
years.
About. Well, and also, I mean, you said, you're talking about guys knowing what they're getting into. it's the same. Like, I didn't know what the hell I was getting into with military. I mean, on my dad's side, there's some Navy background. On my mom's side, my grandfather was Army, my uncle was Army, but from a direct understanding of military life, I came into that pretty blind. So I was kind of going in blind and didn't know what to expect. But, with him trying to break it off with me, I think that just made me more determined and a little bit more, stand up tall and pull my shoulders back and, I can handle whatever you got kind of a, attitude. So, the whole process of him going back in and me moving from Omaha to Washington and driving up there myself was definitely a big culture shock for me. And Chris was right. I mean, he was gone all the time. I got a full-time job that kept me busy, but you definitely need to, I don't want to say have an understanding, because you don't. I mean, Chris had been in before, so he knew what to expect in that regard, but I didn't.
And that's with young guys out there. With the young guy, I'm sorry, but and you keep going. But what I want to jump in, because I forget to say it. If you are going in, how I could have handled that better was, and since I'd already done it before, sat down with her and said, "Hey, this is what to expect." But again, I'm in my 20-somethings. It's me. I'm not thinking about other people. It's I got to focus on this. This is going to be tough. I'm going back in the Ranger Battalion. Holy crap! And that I handled it wrong. But that's what we learn. And guys are idiots. Guys that go. We're stupid sometimes. Sometimes we're very, very selfish. And if I'd have sat down and said, "This is what to expect," she would have handled. She would have known. But again, who knows? I'm glad as I could look back down how we are now and what she's saying about how she had to really strengthen her own self. I think I didn't do it right. I'm not saying I did it right, so don't get mad at me for that. I'm glad that we did it that way, because I don't think we'd be as strong as we are now if it had happened. If I had sat down and said, this is what we need to do. Granted, that would have been the right thing to do, but looking at that point in time, but now. No, because now, like I said, she can pretty much handle anything, and it helped with all the deployments that I did. She was, by that time, and go ahead, you finish up and tell me if I'm wrong, but then I was always deploying all the time and always gone all the time, and she had already been through this culture shock of me being gone all the time, so I think she just started and being able to accept it, basically being not knowing but figuring it out, and then just saying I'm strong enough, I can handle being on my own if I need to be. That she was able to handle all those times that I was deployed for 10 years, going off and on, always gone for 10 years. So, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm sorry. But go ahead.
Will you quit apologizing? I think, I'm going to kind of, after listening to what you said, I'm kind of rewinding too, as far as being prepared and things like that. I mean, I was an only child, so I think I'm a pretty self-sufficient person, and I would like to be able to say that I can handle myself in pretty much any situation. I mean, the military thing was a shock. That was a new world for me. But as far as being able to handle myself and balance things, with deployments, when Chris started doing contracting, I mean, it became a joke in the beginning, because he literally called me when I was 6 months pregnant, I think, with our 15-year-old. And this is exactly what he said. He led with this. He said, "Don't divorce me." When I answered
that
the
sounds
phone.
like Chris.
And I go, what? I go, what are you talking about? Don't divorce me. And he goes, well, I'm taking this security contract job. It's overseas. I'll probably be gone for 6 months. And I already said yes. So at this point, I have no idea what he's talking about. I don't know what security contracting is, or what is involved. But, leading up to that, I mean, this is later, after he'd gotten out of the military the second time, after we'd gotten married in a courthouse in Washington State. And all I said was, if that's what you want to do, then okay. Because, I feel like, I don't know, tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like I've always been pretty supportive when it comes to, everything that he wanted to do. It was always a task and a goal. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to accomplish. This is where I want to be. And, I was kind of the support staff when it comes to that. And, I never said, no, don't do that. No, that's a bad idea. No, I'm going to leave you if you make that decision. It was just kind of a constant learning curve with this man.
Yeah, no, no, that's right. And that's exactly right. And I think by doing that now, and we're at the point now where it's now the obstacle now it is, and she can even tell you, because she travels with me a lot now. I'm glad she comes with me to a lot of these functions where I used to be on my own, which was hard to do on these speaking functions. She'll tell, I'm like, okay, because it's out of my system. I've got it all. It's done. I'm glad that's gone. There's guys that live their whole lives and never get all this out of their systems. And some guys also get out of your systems earlier than me, but all that I've needed to do and just do whatever goals I had. Now my goal is, I just want to be home. I tell her, I said, it's all done. We're good. I'm done. I'm good. I don't want to do anything anymore. I just want to be home. I don't want to go anywhere. I want to be home every day. I want to get up, go to the gym, and we can work out. And I want to be with the kids, and I'm tired of traveling. I just want to be home. And I don't think if we would have had our I think if she would have stopped that earlier and said, no, you're not doing it, I would still be 50 going, gosh, I still need to accomplish these things in my life, where really the biggest thing now is accomplishing is being a good husband, being a better husband, always trying to be a better husband and a better father. And that in terms of me just being home. She did that. She's the one, and that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. I'm giving a compliment in my roundabout way, which she's used to, because I can give good compliments sometimes, but there's times where I'm trying to scramble and figure out a way to say it. But to me, it's like she allowed me to do that, and she did allow me. I didn't force it. No, she allowed me to do that stuff. So don't kid yourself, guys out there. You think you're in control. You're not. The woman's in control. But
we're sneaky like that. We have our ways.
But now I'm 40. I'm going to be 49 next month, and I'm good. Who can? To me, that's the most self-satisfying feeling in the world. It's like, man, I got to do everything. I'm only, not even to 50 yet, and I could sit on the porch every day and be fine. Go to the gym, work out, come back, drink my coffee, hang out with my kids all day, go to Chuck E. Cheese in the afternoon with my 4-year-old. Tanya and I go have dinner every once in a while, go see a movie, or just even sit on the couch and watch a movie on Vudu or watch it on Netflix, and I'm good. And that was a testament to her really biting the bullet for a lot of years. So.
Tanya, did you
a whole lot of years?
And she still looks good. And she still looks good in Thaddeus tights, which is nice too.
But no.
All I'm going to say is, finally, like, if you hear what Chris is saying, oh, this is all I want to do, and I just want to relax, and I just want to lay back. And in my mind, it's just echoing, finally. Like, check that box. Okay. Finally family time. Because, I think Chris has mentioned it before. When he was doing overseas security contracting, it was a constant adjustment, because it's not like a military deployment where, it's extended for 9 months or, a year or longer, and you barely get to talk to them. On his contracting deployments, he would be gone 2 to 3 months usually, and I would get a phone call pretty much every day. Whether it was a direct phone call or we'd do like a video chat type of a thing. And it's a constant readjustment, because if you can imagine, okay, you've got a certain way of doing things when your spouse isn't around. Maybe I do the dishes differently. Maybe I clean the house differently, and you have it done your way for 2 or 3 months. And then all of a sudden, Chris comes home, and he might have a different way that he likes to do things. So don't get me wrong. It's good. The kids are happy. I'm happy. Chris is home. Finally, family time. But it took a few days. It took a few days to figure it out, and then, okay, it's kind of back to the routine.
Yeah.
But then again, Chris is still in the, okay, I miss that work. I miss that life. I miss that adrenaline. I miss that environment. So it's short-lived. It really was short-lived.
By the time we readjusted, I was out the door again. Or it'd be like time for me to come home, and then I get a call from a buddy. Hey, can you go out and do another trip on this? And I'd be home for 2 weeks. Like, yeah. And I couldn't say no. I couldn't say no because I wanted to do it. It wasn't couldn't say no because I felt guilty. It's just I'll be completely honest. I couldn't say no because like, oh my gosh, you want me to go do that now in this country? Sign me up, and I'm out the door again.
Yeah.
And,
and then I had to balance it too because sorry, we keep cutting you off, Ian. You don't get to talk today, by the way. It comes to that situation where I was angry about a lot of that in the beginning because I didn't understand. I didn't understand the draw, Chris's perspective of that's what I need. That's, I need that part of my life too. And it would make me bitter. It would make me angry. And I didn't get it. And it took me a long time to really figure that out and understand his perspective on the situation. And I once I finally figured that out, I could kind of let go of that anger, be okay. That's just what he needs. That's what he needs right now. It's not that he doesn't need us, that he doesn't need, family, kids, wife. It's not that he doesn't need us, but he needs that also. So it's kind of like sharing.
Yeah.
And I had to learn to share with that lifestyle. And I had to understand why he needed that, like that drive, like why he needed that part in his life. And it was that way for so long. People they ask me now, they're like, well, how did you deal with that? How did you get through that? And, my answer has become, that was just our normal. Everybody might have their normal way of functioning with, who picks up the kids, who drops off the kids, who makes dinner, whatever. But our normal was Chris's deployment, the adjustment and readjustment, and me functioning on my own, essentially, which I had no problem doing for a long time. And it made me a stronger person. It made me a more resilient person. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm definitely a more resilient person. And it allowed me to understand Chris's side of it, which in the beginning I didn't understand. I resented him for that, which caused problems, here and there along the line. But it just took me a while. I had to understand it. And before I could understand it, I kind of had to sit down and sit back and look at it through his eyes a little bit, which I can't relate to that kind of work. I can't.
Neither can I.
Try to understand it.
I'm in the same boat as you that I've never served. But
okay, Ian, you can talk now.
Oh yeah, no, I'm actually glad you got into all that because it adds some perspective. But what you're saying about the eagerness to go back into that line of work, what it really reminds me of is something I've heard Jack Murphy talk about when I would do the show with him. Is he often would say, like, I didn't join the military, not even necessarily for love of country, and he's like, I definitely didn't join for civilians to say thank you for your service. He's like, I don't give a crap about that. He's like, I'm going to be honest. I joined for my own selfish goals. This is what I wanted to do and was determined to be a part of my life. And it sounds like, Chris, you have some of that. I mean, obviously you are a guy with love of country and all that, but I think people put aside that this is just something you wanted to do. And once you got a taste of it, you couldn't get enough of it until this past year or so.
The love of country comes after. And to my opinion, you love your country, but I didn't sign up to go in the military initially because I'm this, and I was patriotic, but I think unbeknownst I was patriotic. I wasn't, I didn't go wearing my flag t-shirts. I didn't go around doing any of that. I joined, it really was. It was like, I want to see if I can do this. And if you hear what I just said, I wanted to see if I could do this. Yeah. And once you get in, especially if you go in the and to me, this is me. I mean, Jack and I are different in a lot of ways, and I love Jack, but he'll tell you the same thing. Him and I are same in a lot of ways, but completely opposites on other ways as well. Once I got in and I started to serve, and I saw the flag, and I saw how sometimes it was being desecrated with the jobs I was doing, I did become more patriotic. Oh, definitely. So my patriotism grew after I joined, but initially it is, and it's actually spot on. And I'd be danged to say every dang person that's gone into special operations. I'm just going to say the military. But just special operations, yes, it is a lot. There's a shitload of egos, dude. And hell yeah, they're doing it for themselves. And even like it's you, we came out and said what the truth was. Well, there were so many people that were offended when we told the truth about Benghazi because, oh my gosh, they're not being secretive. We were out of this secret squirrel world that we live in, and now people are realizing it. That's ego right there. That has nothing to do with. We gave up no information that would have endangered people downrange. We didn't give anything up that was clandestine or covert or need to know. But that aura, and I think I even said it on another show before when we had either Pat Mack or we had one of the other guys. I can't remember.
Del
one of the other
Comstock,
guys.
Maybe?
Yeah, that was it. And I said it's that aura, that secret aura.
Yeah, I remember why, because I was talking about how they say don't say Delta Force.
Yeah, don't say Delta. It has nothing to do with it's going to endanger anyone. Everybody, you even said everybody already knows.
Yeah,
it's that aura that goes with it. That look, I'm secret squirrel. Look at this. My ops are blacker than your ops are, and that's an ego thing.
That's funny.
So you're Jack. You're spot on, and Tanya had to deal with not just my jackassery, but also of course we all have a little bit of an ego. Of course we do. That's why we do what we do. But my patriotism, and then after Benghazi, even after that, and I went to Yemen, my patriotism to the country, not to the government. Politicians can kiss my ass, every one of them out there. But my patriotism became a lot stronger, and actually, it's even become stronger now that I've been doing the speaking, and also because I've got that out of my system, and I've become stronger with my family. The patriotism is even stronger now. I think it all goes hand in hand, man. I really do. And Tanya's a huge, huge part of me coming out of and figuring all that out. I couldn't have figured it out on my own. I had to have somebody helping me there figure it out.
I wanted to ask Tanya something, going back to what you were saying about all these sacrifices you made for Chris, basically to live out what he had for his goals. Did
I make it sound like that?
Well,
no, it's true.
Here's how I kind of was wondering, because I'll be honest, I've met Tanya once. We've spoken on the phone a few times. I don't know you super well yet, but I feel like, you meet someone, there's certain people you meet and you get to know pretty well. And even just hanging out with you, I feel like I know your character on things. And you definitely don't strike me as someone who just wanted to be like a housewife for a special ops guys. You had your own goals with volleyball and with personal training. Did you have to put a lot of that stuff aside in supporting Chris?
I tried not to. Chris will tell you, because we would argue about this sometimes. I have a really difficult time being what the quote housewife is, or what the definition is. When somebody comes up to you as a woman and says, "So do you work outside the home?" It bugs the shit out of me, actually, because it almost feels like, well, they're looking at me like, well, what else are you doing to contribute? So I don't know. I mean, Chris and I have known each other for a long time. We're married for a long time, been back together for, a while now. And I have always found something to, I don't want to say keep me busy, but I was a full-time manager for a Gold's Gym for a while. Like, that was my gig. I became a personal trainer. I got a massage therapy license. I worked part-time at a different gym. I needed something else to kind of satisfy my need for contribution. Not that somebody that is at home and takes care of the kids and, takes care of the household isn't contributing, because they are. It is one of the hardest things to do and keep your sanity. Yeah. But I needed other stuff to keep me busy. whether it's coaching. Coaching is 100% my passion, and I found a niche that I can make my own schedule, essentially, which any job that I've had is usually flexible enough that I can work it into the schedule. And Chris wouldn't like it sometimes. He would get pissed because he would come home from being overseas and I had to go to work.
And
it would drive him nuts.
It
would cause argument.
Yeah. No, it would because I'd be back for, between deployments, I was only home for a couple months. And then if I decided to take another deployment after on a separate contract, after maybe I didn't come home for another 2 weeks, and I was really only home for maybe 30 days. And during that 30-day time, she's gone every weekend. Like, oh, shit, I just got home. Well, and to me, it was, well, you must not give a shit then. Fine, you don't care. If you're always gone, I'm only home for 30 days. Who knows if I'm coming back when I get on that plane? And that's one of the hardest things when you're leaving. Every time when you leave, you never know if you're going to come back. And that's not romanticizing it. That's not putting a extra spin on it. That's the truth. That's why guys have a hard time. There's guys that continue to do this job that really have a hard time mentally when they get back, because you just never know. But I was always angry at that because I was, wait a second, why are you leaving? I'm only home for a short period of time. Then after I sat down and thought about it, after I got a little bit older and a little bit wiser, I was like, well, wait a second. Okay, she's giving this up for me. She needs this in her life, because if she doesn't have it, then it's going to be miserable at home. And wait a second, I could have come home 30 days earlier, but I had to stay out. I stayed out longer to go ahead and get something else out of my system that I needed to. So It was a give and take It was, and it was me having to understand, but she understood it a lot quicker than I did. I would just be pissed. And it was, to me, It was, you just don't care. Why you don't care if you're going out working. Why are you doing that? You don't need to, we have plenty of money, but again, as a guy, that's guys' way of thinking. And then you heard how women think with Tanya, and I don't want to stereotype the two, but what I'm saying is, women are really, and Tanya's type of woman, she's gonna be able to accept and understand more, where a guy's just gonna be like, screw you, you don't love me. And that's stupid. But that's how I was for a lot of years. And
that's the truth.
I had to figure that out.
Yeah, we've had to figure out a lot of stuff between both of us.
You figured out.
Kind of back to your question, Ian. I mean, as far as sacrifice, I mean, I will readily admit that I quit a couple jobs that I shouldn't have, in retrospect. Like, I did it because of Chris or for Chris. And I will say that, I have a regret in that, in that realm, that I should have, maybe stood my ground a little bit more. But, again, back to the give and take, and, keeping the household stable, so to speak. But I always needed to have something extra. And what Chris had a hard time understanding is that, in having that something extra, whether it was coaching or personal training or whatever, it made me a better person. Like, I was a happier individual when I was doing it. And like Chris said, he looked at it from, oh, well, you just don't give a shit. I'm only home, and you're supposed to be home when I'm home, during this time frame. So it was some sacrifice. I think, Chris, like he said, has finally, listened a little bit and learned a little bit and understands a little bit. I
listened. I finally listened.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's the joke, too, is that Chris listens, but he doesn't hear. Like, they're two completely different things.
All men do that. All men are stupid.
They listen, but they don't hear you. So, yeah, I mean, I was a Division I college coach for a few years. It's probably, my dream job, so to speak. And, things changed a little bit with that, and I ended up leaving that job. But I will say, one of the main reasons that I did leave that job is because I found out I was expecting our third child, our youngest that we have now. So I can't I can't say that was all your fault, Chris.
Yeah.
And
well, I guess it was. I guess it was though. If you
it was my fault. I hope it was my fault. Unless I don't know something, do we need to get a blood test? What's going on here?
I cannot believe that you just said that.
I told you
the door's locked.
I told you, Ian. Locked. I'm not even gonna get back in the house. By
the way, I think that's the 60-second clip going up on Instagram right there. That's a good one.
Right there. But if all this hadn't happened, because Tanya and I now with the company and Ian's, you're part of it with Battleline Podcast. We do this together. In fact, I always do it like, Tanya, what do you think? Here, I have all the faith in the world. Tanya, you talk to them. You take care of it. I don't even want to talk to these people. You handle that. That's why even you
didn't give me an okay until you talked to Tanya, and then I met you guys in Atlantic City. I mean, I've met Chris plenty of times, of course, over the years, but that was my first time meeting Tanya, and I could say, like, right away, when you meet someone who's solid and has integrity, as we always talk about. And I think right away we were able to see, like, all right, we're on the same page with this.
Yeah, no, and we are, and with me and Tanya, with her, that's how I always envisioned the company with KPI. And when I got out of it, and we had to start doing this public speaking, is that I wanted someone that was not only just a business partner with me, but also, that I love, that I trust, and I can say, and she goes, do you want to talk about this on the weekend? Like, I don't want to do this. Can you just handle it? And I have all the faith in the world that she can handle it. What drives me nuts sometimes is she'll come back and she'll ask me, what do you think about this? I'm like, you got this. I don't even want to know about it. You got it. And now we're finally getting that down. Sometimes she just wants my opinion on something where, and you've been around me long enough too to know that sometimes I just don't want to give my opinion on anything, and I trust you guys to do it. But I also trust Tanya to do it. Like, yeah, run it. And the foundation.
The funniest, I'll put something. I'll throw something out there that reminds me of that. You and I were going back and forth about what we should put on social media and what we shouldn't. And I remember I said to Chris, I was like, just think about this, man. If it's something that you wouldn't personally be into watching, don't put it up. And you were like, but I'm not into watching anything with me. I'm like, that's not a good answer, bro. Come on.
I don't even know, but that's what I love. And this is why everything's just worked out perfectly. Even though we may have not have seen it over the years where we thought this was messing up, we now know, at least I believe, I'm not going to put words in Tanya's mouth because I know that's a mistake, and I don't do that. I've learned that. So I do listen every once in a while. But I would say that if we hadn't gone through all these things together, we wouldn't be here, not just as husband and wife and a mother and a father to our children, but we wouldn't be able to work together where I can just, I can just say, you got, I don't want to do it. You know what you're doing. Take care of it all. And she is still driven, and she still wants, and she's basically runs everything, every facet of what's going on with our company, with the KPI. And I had to convince that to her. I said, this is our company, not me at mine. This is our stuff. Battleline Podcast, KPI merchandise, all this is ours. And people are also starting to realize that too. This Kepler Speakers Bureau, Ben Morgan, who helps me run Battleline Tactical, they will call me one time. And they know if I don't answer, they're calling Tanya, or they just start just going right to Tanya now. It's not even bothering me at all when they want answers, which is awesome. And because she's smarter than me, she knows what she's doing. She has a business degree. She's run businesses before, and she has that drive still to succeed. Where I'm at that point in my life where I still have that drive, but I'm okay sitting on the front of the porch too in a rocking chair. And so
you were not that old, bro.
I know, but I'm at that point where and it's wonderful for me, and this is wonderful that I have someone in my life like her that I can trust, and she's, like I said, she's smarter than me, so she knows what she's doing more than I do. That can make the decision and really not only just run the household, put up with my shit, but she also can run a company too. That's three things that she does right now in life. And she still works out even harder than I do because I got to do it again because she still looks good in leggings. Just tremendous. She still looks great. So she's beautiful. She's beautiful. She's sexy, and she does everything as far as the company goes. And it's awesome. I mean, I am. She put up with all my shit for so many years. and really no, that we're at a point where, man, I know I got lucky. I got very, very lucky. Most women would not have put up with me for that long, and she did, and she's even, she's more beautiful now than when I met her in spring break, when I had no shirt on, and she fell in love with my huge pecs. She did. Okay, I had to throw that in there because I still think that's hilarious. I still remember that to this day. That was a wonderful night. That was a great night. That was a turning point too. And it wouldn't have happened if that dang beer girl or whatever she was hadn't spilled all that liquor all over me, and I had to take my shirt off. So
I'm just waiting to see if Tanya is
all right. I'll unlock the door now. You can come back in.
I'm trying to find a way out of this. I'm trying to end this, and I feel like I'm hanging myself. It's like, Ian, say something.
I'll tell you this,
I'm
man.
I'm killing myself.
I'll tell you
something.
this. Tanya even got me through like a minor panic attack the other day with the personal training stuff, because I was worried.
Talk about
yeah,
that.
Yeah. So I have a female client who's actually like super strong. I had her deadlifting with a trap bar, and I originally put 25s on each side. So, that's the 45 plus the 225s. And then I went up to 45 plates on each side, which was 135, because she did these with no issue at all. And then I started, this is why I think you and I are the same, Chris, because everything went perfectly fine, but I start to freak myself out. So I started Googling, what is considered a strong women's deadlift. And I realized that for someone who's pretty new to this, I went up pretty damn fast.
Yeah.
And Tanya was like, yeah, you did. Here's the thing. So I ended up checking up on her, and she was fine. And actually, I haven't even told Tanya. I saw her on Monday, and she was great. She just happens to be really strong, and I went with my gut instinct. But I can sometimes make myself worry. That's how I am. And Tanya was honest with me. She's like, you went up a little bit too fast. I wouldn't have done that. I would have done more lightweight, high rep, and which is what I've been doing more of. But luckily, things worked out for the best. But I do freak out sometimes over things, and you helped me out genuinely.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that conversation to occur either, and it just kind of ended up that way. And I did personal training for a lot of years, and I just kind of sort of sidestepped it for a while. And it was kind of nice to have a conversation about training again. So, yeah, when you said that, you're like, yeah, I put, 45s on each side, and my reaction was like, whoa.
Yeah, which I appreciate you being honest.
I thought it was a big jump, especially if she's a beginner. And I'm like, it just takes one bad rep with bad form, and but I think you were second guessing yourself probably more than you needed to. So
yeah, because I would have her do it again actually. But I would probably do it a little slower, as you said. But her form was great and everything, and she just happens to be super strong. It is what it is, because there's other people I would obviously never do that with. But I always appreciate, and I can tell.
It's always about the individual client. And I mean, you knew her, you had been working with her, and I'm just an outside opinion based on the weight that was put on there. So,
but I could tell you're someone who's going to be honest with me. There's other people who would just say, "Oh yeah, that's great." You were honest with me. At the same time, you calmed me down a bit, but you were like, "Whoa, that's a big jump," and I appreciated you telling me that.
Well, you're welcome.
No, it really helped me out. You know what I wanted to ask you about? I want to make sure we get to this, because I think I asked you about this in New York City. Even now running Battleline podcast and doing the social media, even I get messages that are intended for Chris that are literally like a picture of Chris being goofy with his shirt off. Like, Chris doesn't post. He's not like Dale Comstock, who's got like his full ass out on Facebook while I'm scrolling through my feed, and no disrespect to Dale. The guy's in amazing shape for someone his age. But like, it's always goofy stuff. It's never meant to be like overtly sexual, but I get messages with these pictures. They're like, "Oh my God, you're so sexy." They think it's me it's him running. And I don't even respond to any of this. And I know that you are aware of, like, there's a female following for Chris. And I asked you, like, do you worry about this? Does it bother you? And I mean, it seems like it doesn't, basically.
Not now. Not now that I have access to everything and every password to every social. Yeah, no, not now. I mean, I come across some interesting stuff. I'm not going to lie, and Chris doesn't know about some of the interesting stuff.
And I don't want to. I don't want to know. I think it's ridiculous.
No, I know you don't.
I don't want to know.
I've gotten emails from women that
had...
tell me like their life story, and they're like, "We should meet up," and and it's to me. They don't even realize that it's Chris isn't looking at this.
Yeah, and then there's some crazy people out there that they tell you their life story and all their problems and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I mean, you want to feel sorry for the situation, but you're just like, how do I even respond? Like, how do I even reply to this?
Well, that was,
so yeah, there's some interesting stuff out there.
That was part of it, and that's why Tanya, I wanted to run everything. I wanted it because a lot of it was you didn't even know if the problems were real or not. It was, and I wear my ring too. I was like, are you kidding me? You see me wearing this ring? I know there's a lot of men out there that don't respect this thing, and believe me, I've been through that, guys. I don't understand it. I will admonish you for it. I don't think is that the bad word? Is admonish the good one or the bad one? Somebody, I need a thesaurus again. I need somebody to look up a dictionary.
I think you used it correctly.
Okay, all right. Hopefully, I know you're the smart one here. But but again, it was, and that was one of the reasons when Tanya and I did reconcile, because we had our chance for time where we were apart. When we reconciled, it was here. I need you take all this. I don't want nothing to do with this. And it was, and we see Tanya's beautiful. And again, got women out there, you got no shot. I love y'all. I do, the supportive ones, but the ones that are looking for that, no, you have no shot. Tanya's, I keep doing the leggings thing. Well, you should see her top too. I mean, that's even more. So
Stop.
But with her, what is so strong is that she was able to take it. The Instagram, I'll post stuff on Instagram, but I don't have Instagram on my phone. Tanya does. Tanya has it on her phone. She's the one that mounted and turned to Instagram. Instagram is the devil's. That's like Tinder, but disguised. Instagram is like
true,
disguised Tinder. But she handles it like a champ, and she does. And she's very, if you haven't noticed, she is very, very self-confident. And again, she's very beautiful. She's one of the models for Thadia. And because
don't call me a model. I'm not a model.
She's one of the spokespeople for, and it's natural. She doesn't have to, when we go out. No, she doesn't have to put a ton of makeup. She doesn't need all that. She doesn't need it. And she's still after, and don't forget, she's had 3 kids, and she looks better than most 20-year-olds out there. But besides the look, she's confident enough that she can handle that. And that, to me, that's attractive. That's sexy when she can handle all that, and she doesn't get all bent out of shape. And it is, but she was I didn't know if she would have been.
It's taken me a while. That part has taken me a while. I mean, when it comes to the attention that you garnered when the movie and the books, and it thrust Chris into this spotlight of and I don't mean this in a negative way, because it's true, but the quote, American hero Chris Paronto,
I hate
and
that.
it's just like people were falling all over themselves, and I'm looking at the situation going, it's Chris.
She's looking
Chris.
at it going, man, have you smelled the bathroom when he walked out of there?
Exactly. 100%.
That's no American hero. That dude's poop is worse than anybody's poop. It smells awful. Like, American hero, my ass. Can you light a candle? I mean, that's it.
Stop talking about the bathroom.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, but I mean, it was, and still is sometimes just hard to take. When it comes to the attention. I mean, for the most part, it's super positive and super supportive. And, over the last year or so that, things have changed in our lives. And I mean, heck, Chris deleted all of his social media when, he kind
Ian knows that.
lost his mind. And Ian knows. He still hates you about Twitter. So
I know, but it needed to be done. No, that needed a complete nuke.
It did.
to get all the bad ones, and there are get them out of there, and the ones that were really true, the supporters that were actually supporting me and not looking for something. they would come back.
Yeah.
I always knew that. But the ones that were really feeding this negativity in me and was making my life, I mean, it really was. I was going down a slippery slope. And I talked to other veterans about this as well. This is, guys, you got to be careful. When you're putting your stuff out there, you're going to attract people that they think you think that they have your back, but they don't. They just want to get their claws in and get as much as they can out of you, and then leave. And you're basically, and it was sucking life out of me, and it was destroying my and Tanya's, my family's relationship, but that's nobody's fault but my own. It did destroy it, but I had to
destroyed it.
But getting it, but it allowed. And I always look back, like when I was I look back and I use this analogy or this comparison when I was 6 and I lit and I burned about 100 acres of land, trying to light cattails on fire I was an arsonist as well when I was 6 years old. But I remember after all that burnt, and we lived in Alamosa, Colorado, burned all, and it didn't burn, burn just scrub brush out there. There's tons. When it was done, everything that grew back was green. And that's how I looked at the nuke. I actually made that comparison in my head when I shut down all the social media. It was burning it all down so it could start to grow again, and it could grow the right way in a good direction. And that's what I looked at. And so that's why, and that was the right way to do it, was first of all, Tanya and I working things out, but second of all was here. The right way for this to happen is you have control of it. You can see it all. You know what's coming in. There's nothing that you need to worry about. You don't hear. You have everything, and to show that you can trust me again. Here's it all.
Yeah.
And it worked. But it does take a special woman to be able to do that, because you're seeing some like you're seeing. You've seen it. Some of the stuff that comes in that is. I mean, honestly, I'd be like, what the hell? What did you just say? Yeah, I'm used to it because I have a beautiful wife that even when the Thaddeus pictures posted up, what was the one guy who said, I'd hit that? Or I was like, well, yeah, and to me, I'm like, wow, I'm actually hitting that. But yeah, you have no shot. But yeah, but that's awesome. Do we need to edit that out again? So did I go too far?
For crying out loud.
No, what you guys are saying actually reminds me of, I remember, Chris, I know you're more of a football guy than a basketball guy. We talked about this when
college basketball, not the pros anymore, but not back in the day, man. I have a Larry Bird rookie card when I was collecting cards. I love Dr. J, Larry Bird, Moses Malone, but then it just got stupid but yeah, go ahead, brother.
No, we talked when we talked about the Kobe episode, but what I was going to say was, Jeremy Lin, do you remember Lin Sanity? I mean, because you weren't here in New York when he was like on fire.
I don't. Oh, Jeremy Lin was the Knicks.
Yeah, he was on the Knicks, and then he went to the Rockets. So there was a period there was Lin Sanity, they called it, where people were buying Jeremy Lin jerseys. He was like the superstar in New York. It was short-lived, but it was a pretty cool thing to see. I remember Duff McKagan, the bassist from Guns N' Roses, who also writes for ESPN. He wrote this article talking about when Appetite for Destruction came out, and he said, like, I started to believe, the hype.
You believe your own hype. Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
he was saying, like, all these girls suddenly wanted to, have sex with me, and girls who wouldn't look at me twice. And he's like, man, did I get hotter? What happened? And he's like, it took a while to realize, but that these people were all just there to try to gain something off of me. And he talked about, he was like, I hope Jeremy Lin has someone in his life who could bring him back to reality, and he seems like a guy with a good head on his shoulders. And I just wanted to let him know, like, I went through that period where Appetite for Destruction was the biggest thing, and I realized, like, I haven't changed. I'm still the same guy, but, to these people, I'm suddenly a superstar. So it's just what you're saying reminds me of that.
No, and you're spot on, brother. Aside from, I don't want to even compare myself to Guns N' Roses or Duff. And I know I didn't know you were for ESPN. That's cool as hell. Yeah. I think that's the coolest thing in the world. But that's even to that extreme. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But that is spot on. And I believed my own hype, and I didn't have that person that was there keeping me grounded, which Tanya always was. Tanya's my base. If you read the Patriots Creed, I talk about that. There's a whole chapter where I say my base every time, and I didn't even realize it. Every time I came back from an op that maybe was a little hairy, the first person I called was Tanya. It wasn't my buddies. I didn't go to I didn't go in the Talabar or Putty's or any place like that, which is some of the bars we had downrange at some of the bases. I didn't go in and we didn't talk about it. I didn't say, oh man, that was the coolest thing ever. Even after being out, it wasn't. It was, I called her. I'm like, that's what I'm missing. That is why I am so screwed up. I started to believe my own hype after the movie and the books and stuff, and I started to play myself, and I ended up getting played, and I need that person back in my life to get myself myself straight, and also for us to be a family again. And I said, luckily she I don't know if she waited on me, but I guess I would say, I don't know, she was still there, and she was willing to take it all back. And no, it was awesome. But yeah, are you guys out there? The Gallaghers, all these guys are getting their site. I'm just telling you, man, be careful. That social media. If you have a wife, let her run it. Don't get on that. You military guys, we aren't built for that kind of stuff. We aren't built for the public figure life. We shouldn't even be in it. My fault. I'm part of that part of that little genre that pushed, or that group that pushed guys into there. So I take responsibility for that. But that being said, you be ready for it.
It has something to do with your own personality type, though. Like, I don't know if you got a chance to listen to the last episode, but like Frankie Palmieri from Amur was saying that
awesome.
Thank you, man. No, he was great. But what he was saying that I think you could relate to, and which is why I wished you were there for that episode, was he was saying when he kind of became a public figure, because he has the same thing as you, and he's gotten a bunch of criticism for things he said. He was like, fame and being a public figure, he said it doesn't work unless you're someone who doesn't go out there and express your opinions on things. He's like that. Then he's like the biggest name celebrities. You don't see them do long form interviews. You don't see them say anything controversial. And he's like, that's really the best way to be in that spotlight. And I think we both kind of learned that. So
it is, but you have to do it initially. I mean, really, all the ones that did get in that spotlight, they did it at some point. It's almost like you have to go crush yourself for a second and then jump out of it. The smart ones get out of it.
Yeah,
they get in there and then but the smart ones also, and if you look, the majority of them also have a Tanya in their life too that says, okay, idiot, all right, you get out of this. You don't need to be there anymore. Or we can go to them and say,
well,
go ahead, darling, go ahead.
I'm going to totally interrupt you. I had to let you be an idiot. Like,
no, that's true.
Back,
yeah,
and let you be an idiot. And I mean, the ironic part about it, looking back, is that I still was like, the support person in the background, because it's not like I disappeared. I was still around. I just had to step back and watch you make mistakes and just continue to function and, handle the kids and, be that Tanya until you kind of got a slap in the face, literally, I think. So I kind of had to sit back and watch. It was kind of like watching a train wreck sometimes. And it was hard. It was hard to watch it was like watching a damn train wreck, because I was still in his life. I was still involved, not at the same level, but still involved. So, I mean, we had 3 kids together. How could I not be involved?
We had our little guy. He was definitely, because he was little, 1, 2, and 3 year. Those 3 years he was 1, 2, and 3, and so I would, I really think that little guy, and I don't want to say his name. You can look it up. We're pretty protective. You'll never really see. You see the back of our kids, but you'll never see their faces. I'm very protective.
Yeah.
And Tanya's even more so. But I think he was brought into our lives because really that little guy if he wasn't there, I don't think we would have saw each other as much, because our bigger kids were getting older. So that just happens. And he came in and he really, that little boy, man, my little guy, he really helped keep some of the glue. Tanya was a glue, but our little guy was a glue as well, because it made me have to, even when I didn't want to. Even though I didn't want to be around Tanya at that, I was like, I got to go see my little guy. And then I get to be around Tanya and be like, God dang, I'm an idiot. And then I'd be stupid and go wreck a train again. And then I come back. So it was, Tanya's awesome. Tanya's amazing. And again, she's a woman. Yeah, we're going to be 80 and sitting on our porch together and just just rocking on the rocking chairs. Well, she'll probably be riding her Peloton bike, still looking good in her leggings, and her Thaddeus shirt, her Tantra KT. My favorite one is the blue one. She has the courageous and brave one, courage and bravery one. Oh man, it sits just looks good. It's amazing.
I love it.
Enough.
Wrapping things up here. I guess the last thing we'll get to, which is how we've been kind of wrapping up every show, which is something Chris decided on doing and I've been loving, is just any words of inspiration for people out there, whether it's military wives or even someone looking to do something in athletics.
Gosh, inspiration. Well, I think most of what we've been talking about is relationship and balance, and so I guess I would speak to that in regard to relationships and goals and things like that. It's about balance. If there's somebody in your life, it's about understanding. I think Chris and I had to learn a lot about ourselves before we could really understand what the other one's perspective was. So I always want to put myself in somebody else's shoes and try to see situations through their eyes, to help me understand situations as well. But Chris and I have kind of seen it all and been through it all. And if we can, as Chris called it, his life was like a roller coaster. If I can hang on to that roller coaster long enough and, still be true to myself and what my goals are and what I want to see at the end of the day in terms of a relationship and a family and, a career, then, anybody can make it. Anybody can get through it. The whole never quit attitude. I didn't never adhere to the never quit. It wasn't, the tagline, but, I guess it kind of encompasses a little bit of everything when it comes to people's goals in life and overcoming adversity, because we all see it and we've all been through it. Some is worse than others, but if you can just stand tall and have strength and be proud of what you've accomplished so far, it's kind of like, okay, well, what's next?
Yeah.
So
no,
that's kind of the way I look at it.
So well said. This has been a great show, and just wrapping things up here. Once again, got to mention Fort Scott Munitions is a manufacturer of multi-federal patented solid copper and brass CNC spun ammunition that is designed to tumble upon impact in soft tissue, leaving devastating wound channels for faster bleed out and quicker incapacitation. This ammunition was originally developed to innovate and improve on the standard of military-grade ammunition design. It was found that not only did the TUI ammunition outperform competitors in the self-defense industry, but it quickly became apparent that it would be a top contender for hunters alike. With the ammunition being CNC spun, the tolerances are some of the tightest on the market, ensuring that you receive the same results with each pull of the trigger. Fort Scott Munitions is available throughout privately owned businesses in all 50 states, as well as directly online through fortscottmunitions.com, FortScottmunitions.com. Use exclusive promo code Battleline for 15% off your order, only available to listeners of the Battleline podcast. Fort Scott Munitions is a proud supporter of Chris Paronto, Battleline Tactical, and the Battleline podcast. And I also have to throw this out there. Hero Soap Company, so they sponsored one show with us, but I was talking to Lucas on the phone, and I promised Lucas that we would throw him another read because personally, I love what they're doing. And I've already made an order for more soap. I can't go back now. I ran out of the cool and the cooling and peppermint soap, and all I left was my Dove soap. And I'm like, this is terrible. I need to get more Hero soap. So I bought like a whole bunch of them because I want to check out the others, but it's going to be hard to top that one. But I think I got the charcoal. I did the tea tree one. And I just want to check them all out. So Hero Soap Company has no chemicals, dyes, or fragrances, no parabens that are found in common soaps that are linked to breast cancer and to reproductive complications in men. Very important. Veteran-owned. Lucas is a veteran himself, focused on veteran charities to help build housing for veterans in need. And for all subscription purchases, they match the amount of soap and send it overseas to a deployed location. Subscription shipped straight to your door every month so no worry of running out. Dudes always running out of their products before buying new or more.
Yeah.
So no contract. You can cancel at any time. Let Freedom clean. And I have to throw this out there. The last episode we talked about them, I was saying how the peppermint and cool soap is really for the guys only. And some people may have misinterpreted that and thought all the soap is for guys only. Everything else on there, you're good. That's just the one soap because of the I'm sorry. What am I looking for again? That's in there, Chris.
It's the peppermint, the cooling, whatever it is that makes it cooling. It's if you have it can get a little spicy in areas. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, the menthol. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, the menthol. So that's the only one, but all the others are for everyone else. And since I was on the site yesterday reordering, I remember like Audacious Andy bought some soap, but wanted to buy the body scrub on there, which they were all out of. As of yesterday, I saw it on there. So if you're looking to buy the body scrub, that's on there too. So just use Battleline at checkout to save 15% off. And then you can combine that with the 10% off for the subscription for best savings. So this is the convenience of having your soaps delivered straight to your door. Prior to this company, Lucas would always run out of soap completely before getting more. And he thinks a lot of men are in that same predicament. So herosoapcompany.com. Use the offer code Battleline for 15% off. And, I love what they're doing. And once again, for guys deployed, if you order that subscription, they're going to get that matched. And you know better than I do, Chris, that's a huge convenience.
That is. No, it having stuff downrange, it's just so difficult sometimes, especially if you're in outer bases to get just toiletries. And if you're downrange for extended periods of time, you're going to run out. And also, all they have is they have your basic stuff downrange. Your Dove, your Irish Spring,
this soap. I really can't state it enough. Like it is levels above. This is an experience, and I really mean it. I am using it every single day, and I can't go back now.
I'm the same way. I love that. It's fantastic, and it wakes you up. You feel good. You do feel definitely better. You feel more alive. Everything just it is. You just that cooling sensation, that feeling of basically having a York peppermint patty rubbed all over your body is amazing, especially down in the nether region right there.
And it's cooling, but it doesn't dry you out. I've had a lot of soaps where I get out of there and like my skin is all dry. I've actually been less dry. Because I've had these issues before. I mentioned it on the podcast where especially in this cold weather, my knuckles will crack and then start to bleed. I noticed I have less of that since I've been using this soap. It just, I never thought I'd be this into a soap, but I am. I truly am. I'm not just saying it because they're a part of the. I mean, hey, they're not even sponsoring this particular episode. I just wanted to shout them out, and they still are accepting the coupon code for Battleline. I genuinely love what they're doing.
They're doing a good job, and their heart's in the right place. But the product, and it's anything else, the little stuff in the beginning is going to get you in and have you try it. But the how well the product is made is going to keep you coming back. Like Fort Scott Munitions, it keeps you with Thadio when you guys start wearing their stuff. Some back even with Ned, but also with the soap, with Hero Soap. It's good soap. It's awesome, and it does make a difference in the morning. Believe me, you said it yourself. The Dove's just sitting there. You can tell the difference. I got Irish Spring. I don't go to that Irish Spring. I can tell the difference, and that's the only soap I'm going to use. And just the smell. I mean, you just feel better. You just feel a heck of a lot better.
I can't wait to try the others. So herosoapcompany.com, offer code Battleline, and then you can combine that with the subscription. You'll get the 15% off and the 10% off. So with that, before we get thrown out of here, Tanya, thank you so much for coming on. I remember you were like reluctant to come on, and you were like, I don't know how I'm going to do with this. Hopefully you enjoyed it because I thought this was a great interview.
No, it was great. I'm not one to be very outspoken about. I'm like the mystery person. Nobody really knows who I am.
It's
so
true.
Yeah. So it was a little bit of a challenge for me to do this, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah. Can I come into the house when this is over?
Yeah, I'll unlock the door now. You can come in.
Love you.
Love you. Thank you, Ian.
Thanks, guys. I hope you had a great Valentine's Day. I should throw that out there.
We were traveling, but she was with me in San Diego, which was awesome. That was fun. We went to the beach, and before I had to speak, and didn't you have fun? I had fun. That was one of the more fun speaking event trips we had.
Anytime I get to be on a beach, I am 100% happy. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we had a good time, even though we were traveling home on Valentine's. But I did give her 3 Hershey's Kisses, and she gave me a pop-up.
Yeah. So let me wrap this up by saying that Chris, for Valentine's Day, as we're leaving the hotel, grabbed a handful of Hershey Kisses out of the front desk candy dish and said, "Happy Valentine's Day."
and when we were at the airport, I walked the whole length of the terminal to get you a Starbucks coffee too. I did.
You did.
And brought it back and walked it all the way back. It was like a mile to get Starbucks.
A mile uphill both ways
both ways in the Denver airport. So
I love it. So for our listeners, once again, any questions for the show, email battlelinepodcast@gmail.com. Sponsorship inquiries, ianscottoradio@gmail.com. And we'll be back on Monday. Never give it up, never give it up. Never give it up, I'm beside you. Never give it up, never give it up. So let yourself get away.
That's all for this week's Battleline podcast, but we'll be back on Monday with more American Straight Talk, so make sure you're subscribed. And keep up with the show 24/7 on Facebook and Instagram at Battleline Podcast. Also on Twitter at Battleline Pod. As always, never quit.